I think France will win it. I really do.
Really?
I think Kylian Mbappe is an unstoppable force. I think he is everything you need in a modern player. He's got the pace, he's got the power, he's got the eye for goal. I think he's a leader of that French team, and I think they are a team who will improve as the tournament progresses. So if I was hanging my hat on anyone, hanging my beret on anyone, see what I did there?
Yeah.
I would go for France. Before the tournament, I actually backed Argentina. Even last night, I've not seen enough from Argentina to suggest that my money is going anywhere other than the bookmaker's pocket. So yeah, at the moment I would say France. You can't write off Brazil, although I think the injury to Neymar, depending how long he's out, is a significant blow. And I didn't see much of the Spain game, but I'm told they were very good, particularly in midfield. Still worries me in terms of the centre-forward area for them, and I think maybe there'll be a team to watch at the next World Cup and the next European Championship. I think Germany could well go out today. England stunk the place out against USA, so it's hard to make a case for them. And I've not really seen anybody else who's blown me away so far. Belgium were average. Portugal were average.
It does feel, you know, if you go back to '86 when Maradona won and the way Argentina played and how influential he was, you know, that you could make the same case. Well, France had a great team in '98, but they did have Zinedine Zidane, who was just outstanding for them. Kylian Mbappe feels that type of player, and his age is that as well. You know, we're not talking about a guy that's, I mean, he's already won a World Cup and been top goal scorer, but he's still an age of where he's making an enormous difference. He's just frightening when he's on.
He is, and how do you stop him? And obviously they've got other players to complement that as well. Olivier Giroud, still a handful at international level. Again, defensively, maybe they're not the strongest, but then I don't know if there is a standout defence in this tournament. This goes back to what I say about England. I think the team who win the tournament are going to be the team who have the most attacking flair, because defensively, I don't think any of their sides are that strong.
Looking ahead then to England against Wales, and maybe just the sense of the feeling you're getting from the England camp. What do you? I mean, we were talking earlier on about how it seems some of the players are very unhappy with the criticism that's been aimed at them after that USA performance.
Bless them.
Bless them. Is that how you're going to respond to them?
Yeah, but what do you expect when you put in a performance like that? If you can't handle the stick back home, then I'd suggest you probably haven't got the stomach to go for a World Cup campaign, because Gareth knows all too well, and Cass will back this up from his experiences. There are peaks and troughs at World Cups. There are times when you play well, as they did against Iran, and they get plaudits, and people say they're going to bring it home for the first time since '66. And there are times when you're not at your best, and they weren't at their best against the USA, and you have to accept any criticism that comes your way.
Well, and we were critical about it yesterday, that's fair to say, but they will argue it's a point. We're unbeaten. We're top of the group. So why be so critical?
It was the nature of the performance. It was just limp, you know. And the booze at full time. And actually, I had a bit of a debate with one of our producers who covers England regularly. When I suggested it was England fans booing, he said, "No, there are a lot of neutrals in the crowd. England fans don't boo." And I said, "Yeah, but this is a different World Cup. It's a very expensive place to get to. It's a strange time of year to leave the family just before Christmas. Even getting to and from the stadiums for the supporters is not easy. And when they make all that effort and they pay all that money, and the players put in a performance like that, I think they're well within their rights to voice their frustration."
See, I was quite diplomatic yesterday about their performance, and yes, I agree with a lot of what Alex has said about how they played. To me, it probably will be irrelevant if they play like that in a game in a knockout stage. And, you know...
Well, it's game over then, really, pretty much.
Well, it's game over, and also then you can go back to, well, maybe the USA game was a bigger problem. At the moment, I see it as a game that's gone. They're in a good position. They're going to make the knockout stage. And it will be forgotten with just a much better improved performance. I don't think England will play like that again in this tournament.
There is a bigger picture at play, though, because it's not just a one-off performance. Maybe the argument, actually, is that the Iran game was a one-off performance, because you look at the Nations League campaign, which was a disaster. Then they beat Iran, and everybody says, "Oh, Gareth knew what he was doing all along, wrote off the Nations League, focused on the World Cup." You can get away with that argument if you're scoring 6 goals. You can't get away with that argument if you're toiling to a 0-0 draw against the USA side, who, let's be honest, probably should have won the game.
So what about Wales then? What will you expect from England? Do you think Gareth will make many changes to his team?
I think he might. I'll be interested to see the formation, because I was under the understanding that before the tournament, certainly the first 2 games would be a back 4. There was then the option, the possibility of going to a 3. If not against Wales, then certainly once the knockout stages come around and you're up against a higher calibre of opponent. I think if he's fit, Kyle Walker will probably come in. I didn't think Trippier was fantastic the other night. Nobody was fantastic, really. There's the Foden conundrum. Obviously, Gareth came out afterwards and said didn't bring him on because he doesn't play number 10 for his club. Well, he brought Marcus Rashford on as a right winger. He doesn't play on the right wing for Manchester United, so that was a contradiction. There is a clamour for Foden to start. I think we know that Gareth Southgate can be quite stubborn, and that actually might make him more determined not to start Foden. But I do think they need some fresh legs. I think maybe Harry Kane needs a rest. He won't do it, but if I was Gareth Southgate, I think I would consider that. I thought he looked really tired. Obviously picked up that leg problem as well. Callum Wilson is fresh, he's fit, he's hungry. I think he definitely needs to freshen up. Grealish could play maybe. I thought he showed a bit of liveliness when he came on.
See, if you look at the Welsh team, the one thing they do really badly, and is not a good thing, is not to be good without the ball. When they didn't have the ball, they were so easy to get through. So if you have that in your DNA, which they clearly had, I thought midfield they were non-existent. They couldn't get, Ramsey and in with, and if Bale dropped in, Ampadu was having to play against 2. He was 2 against 1 at times. They are not very good without the ball, the Welsh. And that's where I think England will expose them with whoever plays, because you are going to concede goals on a regular rate if you are not good at getting the ball back off the opposition.
So maybe therefore the 3-4-3 could come into play. I mean, you don't necessarily need 3 central defenders to deal with. If it's Kiefer Moore up front, it may well be Brennan Johnson. That wouldn't surprise me if they try and play him through the middle and exploit a bit of a lack of pace up against Harry Maguire. But if you play 4 midfielders and try and be more progressive, then maybe that's the secret to success against Wales. Wales aren't very good, so England should beat them.
Well, let's get some reaction from the England camp, because following that draw with the USA, the England captain Harry Kane told talkSPORT that there is no reason to panic.
Yeah, for sure. We knew before, of course, we wanted to win the game and finish basically top. But we also knew it was going to be a really tough night, and the USA posed us some problems for sure. But yeah, overall, we just probably wasn't clinical enough in their final third. But a really important clean sheet, a point, puts us in a really good position going into Tuesday, and that's the most important thing.
And yes, he's right. It does put them in a very good position. They're top and in control of their own destiny, England, coming into this one. And if it all goes to plan and England make it through to the last 16, they will play either, as it stands, Netherlands or Ecuador. Who would be the better side for England to face?
To me or to Alex?
Either of you.
I'd definitely go England need to face the Netherlands. I think they'll give you way more opportunities. They've actually played quite poorly in 2 games, even though they've got 4 points, yeah?
They've not been great.
And I've not been impressed with them. I thought Ecuador were way more dangerous. Ecuador play a 3-4-3, and it's pretty lively, and they really do feel like a team that are set up to make it difficult and always have presence in their side with the wide men. They just overload in wide areas, and they are quite direct at times. I think they're a dangerous side. I think I thought they were by far the better team against the Netherlands. I
think the big thing there is the Enner Valencia injury situation. I think he scored their last 6 goals at a World Cup. Obviously, is leading the race for the Golden Boot in this one. I mean, West Ham fans would think it's ridiculous that we're pinning England's hopes of progression on whether Enner Valencia is fit or not, but he's so important to that team. I like Caicedo in midfield. Obviously, see a lot of him at Brighton down on my patch on the south coast.
What about the Felix Torres at the back, the 3 in the 3? He looks a real player.
He does. And they're one of the youngest, if not the youngest side in the tournament, so they've got that vibrancy, they've got that energy, they've got that fearlessness as well. But again, if we're looking at it, and you're right, I don't think the Netherlands have been great. Cody Gakpo is a player, I think, destined for the Premier League, but if you take him out of it, they're very ordinary. Once again, I think England and Gareth Southgate have been quite fortunate with the draw, because let's be honest, they should beat anybody from that group they play in the round of 16.
It looks as though, with Netherlands playing Qatar on Tuesday, you expect they will win that one.
Yeah, they'll win that.
And then it comes down to Ecuador against Senegal. So if Netherlands win their group game, it pretty much means they'll be top, and it could then come down to Ecuador or Senegal that England will face. And as you're saying, there's more fear in Ecuador than there is in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, much for muchness, really. For all that we've said about Ecuador, I still think England should have too much for them.
All right, we'll see some positives to take from all of this.
Not all negative.
It's not all doom and gloom, ultimately. But first up, it is Wales that England have to face, which will be live on talkSPORT. Would you be confident to give us a scoreline, Alex?
2-0 to England.
Okay. Slightly more conservative, considering other games that we've seen from England after that 6-2 win that they opened this campaign with. In terms of Wales, though, just lastly, your opinion on Wales, Alex. We've spoken about it already, Cass. We've talked about yesterday the reliance on Gareth Bale, the reliance on Aaron Ramsey. Unfortunately, both of them have not been fit. It looks they're not fit enough, really, at this World Cup, unfortunately. Is it all down to those two players that are not really living up to expectations?
I think it's the players supplementing them, because we saw Messi last night. He isn't the force of old. At times, actually, he struggled to move around the pitch. But particularly when Alvarez came on and he did Messi's running for him, that allowed him to get into those pockets of space to score the goal and obviously create the second one. Portugal, Ronaldo isn't the force of old either, but again, they've got good players around him. Wales don't have that. If you take Gareth Bale out of the equation, Ramsey to a lesser extent, you're talking about a team. There's League One players, League Two players in that squad, so it's very difficult for a team of Wales' limited capability to carry anybody. So they can't carry Gareth Bale, and he can't do it all on his own. It's sad in some ways, but there's just not the quality in the squad. And I think it's a big problem going forward, actually, because this could be Gareth Bale's last game, not just for Wales. It could be his last game as a professional. Wouldn't surprise me if he just decided to retire on the back of this. And where is the next generation of Wales talent coming from? It's been a long time since they graced the World Cup stage. It could be a long time before they do it again.